Hello, my name is Nick, and I am an engineer. And this is my third video in my Kerbal Space Program tutorial series. In the last video, I showed you how to get from Kerbal to a lunar orbit and return home safely. And in this episode, I'm going to show you a more advanced rocket technique that involves fuel lines, and it helps make more fuel efficient launch vehicles. So what we're going to do is that we're going to head over to the vehicle assembly building and start constructing our rocket. This rocket will be used for my moonshot mission. No! Before you ask, no, it's not this replica of the Apollo 7 the rocket that was used for Apollo 7. This is actually made by the creators of FASA. You should probably check out that mod sometime. It's very awesome. Instead, I'm gonna start a new rocket. So anyway, again, you should know the drill by this time. Command Pod Mark 1, go to the Utility tab, find the Mark 16 parachute, slap it on top of that capsule, then go to Structural. Gonna find decoupler, put it underneath the capsule. My mouse is acting up today, I'm sorry. Then we're gonna go propulsion, we're gonna go find that freaking FLT 400 fuel tank, we're gonna put it underneath the decoupler, and then we're gonna find RLV 909, put it underneath that. All the rockets we've made so far revolves around this design, with maybe some solar panels attached to it, maybe some thermonuclear batteries, but now we're gonna put an upgrade to this because this is going to be landing on the moon. So we're gonna go to Utility, and we're gonna put down the Z 1K rechargeable battery bank underneath the decoupler. We're gonna put the fuel tank and engine back on, and we're gonna be putting some landing struts on here. The LT1 landing struts. Why the LT1 landing struts? Well, this is gonna land on the moon. Well, it's gonna land on a moon, and landing on its engine, believe it or not, may or may not result in your rocket exploding, rendering it useless in terms of getting home. Yeah, surprising fact, I know. So, we're gonna put that there. Basically, when we get low, we're gonna hit a key that'll cause these legs to deploy. G, in fact, will be our key. And this will help us protect us from an impact of up to 12 meters a second. Yeah, it's not that fast. You still have to land pretty slow on these. And we're gonna place, if I can find it, 4 Z100 rechargeable battery packs above the landing legs in order to give us, again, more power. And on this, I'm also going to be putting 2 OX 4W 2x3 solar panels, because to help us, we need to also, as well as have a lot of electricity, we also need to have a constant stream of electricity. So because landing's hard, and on the capsule I'm going to be putting on 4 OX STAT panels with ×2 symmetry on. And now, the next part, it isn't a requirement, although if you find yourself in a certain scenario, which I'll cover in my landing tutorial, you're going to want to need this. I'm going to put down 2 Illuminator Mark 1s at the bottom of my spacecraft, like that. I'll explain why later. And also, I'm going to be putting a Tetlas LV Bay Mobility Enhancer, because why not? Well, actually, this is so that our Kerbals can walk outside the command pod when they land and get back up. Well, actually, of the 2 places you're probably going to be visiting with this isn't exactly necessary, although just put it on anyway. You'll need it. And now we have our lander. slash service module and command module. Hey, it's command module, service launcher, and LEM all in one for a very low cost of, I don't know. Hey, someone should probably look up the part costs for all these and come up with a cost for this so I can make some sort of infomercial or something. That would be funny. Anyway, so now we're gonna build the launch vehicle. So we're gonna go in structural, find the stack decoupler again, and place it underneath the LV909 engine. And underneath that, I will be placing, if I can find one, I'll be placing 3 FLT 800 fuel tanks. And if you want to clone a part, it's Alt left click. So yeah, 3 of those, and underneath that I'm going to be putting in LVT-45 liquid fuel engine, because this is going to be in space. And now comes for the complicated part and the advanced rocket system I was talking about earlier. I'm going to show you how to make a rocket that uses Asparagus staging. So we're going to head to structural, the structural tab. I'm going to take the TTE-70 radial decoupler, and with 6 times symmetry, yes, 6 times symmetry, I'm going to place them all down, roughly in the middle of the second fuel tank in the center stack. And then we're going to be putting on those decouplers 2 FLT 800 fuel tanks. Yes, they're aligned properly, so we can go ahead and put another one. Got sunshine. Anyway, and then underneath these, I'll be putting in the LVT-30, because this will be operating mainly inside the atmosphere. So yeah, and now comes the advanced part of this of the construction of this rocket. We're gonna have to be adjusting the staging precisely and hooking up things precisely. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna first make it to where the LVT-45 burn starts at the same time our LVT-30s will start. And then I'm gonna add 2 tabs before what is currently stage 4. In fact, it's still stage 4. And now what I'm gonna have to do is that I'm gonna have to find some of the radial decouplers. Let's start off with this one. I'm gonna click it to unselect it from everything else and drag it down here. So now this decoupler is separate from the rest of the decouplers. And now I'm gonna find the decoupler right next to it. I'm gonna put in stage 5. And now I'm gonna have to find the decoupler that's on the opposite side of the decoupler in stage 6. So yeah, I'm looking for it. So now these decouple at the same time, and I'm gonna have to find a decoupler that decouples at the same time on the opposite side of that one. So now we have it toward these decouple, then these decouple, then these decouple, and I'm only gonna make it to where this will also help you. The LV909 burn starts at the same time it decouples from the center stack. And now comes the trickier part. Linking all of these tanks together with fuel lines, with no flaws, hopefully. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to set it to where it's only 1 times symmetry now. I'm going to go over to the last tab in the propulsion, and the very last item should be the FTX2 external fuel duct. What we're going to do now is that we're going to link all these tanks together, which is the main purpose of this. So we're going to locate the first 2 tanks that decouple. And this is doing it with no symmetry on. I'm going to find this tank and attach it to the tank that decouples next. See? And now, I'm gonna take this and attack. I'm gonna link this tank to the tank that decouples next. I'm gonna take the tank that decouples the external tank that decouples last. I'm gonna link it with the center tanks. And then I'm gonna do the identical to the next set of fuel tanks. Anyway, so as I'm demonstrating right here, a pro tip for attaching fuel ducts: make sure you start with the tank you want to drain fuel from and end with the tank you want to put fuel in. If you do it the other way around, then fuel will be flowing in the reverse of what you want it to flow from. So yeah, I'm going to attach the center stack, and now we have a rocket that's capable of going to and landing on both moons of Kerbal. Yes, Kerbal has 2 moons, and coming back safely. So now we're going to add a couple of things that some are completely necessary, others not so much, but to help this. First of all, I'm going to strut. I'm going to link everything together with struts. That's so. We're going to put some at the bottom for these external fuel tanks. And then from the internal tank to the external tanks. Then I'm going to head up here. Well, first of all, I'm going to go to Control, find the inline reaction wheel, put it on there, aerodynamic, couple tabs in, or on the first tab, aerodynamic nose cone, over that. Structural. Now we're going to attach the strut from the top of the external tanks to the lander module thing. And now we're also going to add, under aerodynamic, we're going to add the AV-R8 winglets, one to each external tank. And then 6 to the internal tank. And then, beneath this, I'm going to be attaching the inline advanced stabilizer. Making sure all our struts connections are still the same. And there we go! We have our MUN and Minimus landing view. Launch and landing view. We have a vehicle that's capable of going to the MUN and Minimus and returning home. Now something I'm going to do real quick is that I'm going to be adding these. Wherever they are, any way you want it. This isn't completely necessary, but I just feel like doing it like this because, well, you need some support. And then obviously I'm going to zoom out and make it to where it's in a more realistic position with the launch clamps. It's where the rockets are. That's actually a bit too close for comfort. Yeah, about right there is good height. And am I missing anything? Nope. So yeah, we have our launch vehicle. We have our vehicle ready. So I'm going to title it. I'm going to title it Monimus Shot. I'm going to save it. I'm going to show you exactly why we had all that staging set up the way it is. Wait. Well, first of all, okay, thank goodness it does that already. So yeah, typical launching procedures, full throttle, SAS on. 3, 2, banana, go. And now I'm going to turn down the volume like that so I can then talk about it. So anyway, what's essentially happening is that these two external tanks, the first two external tanks that are to be decoupled. Those two fuel tanks, well, four fuel tanks are essentially feeding fuel to 7 rockets, because they're feeding fuel into another set, and then feeding fuel into another set, and then feeding fuel into the center stack. This essentially helps fuel efficiency quite a bit in your launching stages. As you can see, when we decouple them, all of the tanks are filled with fuel, even though they've been constantly burning. Now, the next two tanks to be decoupled, next two external tanks that are being decoupled, are feeding 5 rockets. Gonna cut throttle, stage them. And now, these two external tanks are essentially feeding fuel to 3 engines. Cut that. Now we have 1 engine by ourselves. And by this point, we should be in space. Maybe even orbit. With 3 full FLT 800s. So yeah, that is a short little tutorial over the Asparagus launching system. Next time on the Kerbal Space Program in my Kerbal Space Program tutorial series, I'll be showing you how to get to, land on, and return home from our two closest celestial bodies. Until then, my name's Nick. I'm an engineer. Signing off.